Welcome to lesson 1 of module 1 of the FSMP online training course. I'm going to be using FSMP because the name of the course is quite long and it's a tongue twister and I don't want to mess it up, so let's go with the mnemonic. In this lesson, what we're going to be doing is trying to differentiate between monitoring, evaluation and research, and to also identify similarities where there are. To understand the differences, we're going to use 3 criteria. One is the purpose of the work that we're doing. The second is the time frame for delivery. And the third are the stakeholders that will utilize the outputs from the work process. For monitoring, the purpose is really to track the progress of activities that have been done for a social development project, and to learn through the monitoring information that we get on how to improve on that activity during the phase of implementation, of active implementation. And as an example, if for instance a project is focused on disseminating information and you want to track the number of people that have attended the dissemination events, it's good to do a manual count or to have an attendance register or an attendance sheet that people can complete, and you can know even specifics from where they're from, what kind of jobs they do, and any other information that you want to get from them. Another example is for a training program where you want to support people and improve their knowledge on a particular topic. A good way to monitor that work and track that there has actually been knowledge increase is to administer a pre-test that helps you to ascertain the knowledge levels of the individuals that will be trained before training starts, and then to have a post-test that helps you to also understand the knowledge levels of the individuals trained after the training has been done, and then to use the difference in the knowledge scores to determine how much knowledge has been gained or how much has reduced because the training was implemented. So yeah, monitoring is to track and to understand how project activity delivery has gone. For evaluations, purpose is usually to understand the progression of a project against the initial design from either the theory of change or the log frame or the description of the action, and to see how the project has achieved its intended goals. This could be captioned as its objectives, captioned as its outcomes or impact. And through the evaluation process, we're able to ascertain how effective the project's approach was, how efficient the team were in getting work done, if there was value in delivering the project, or if over time the benefits that have been gathered by the project will be sustained. So it's more holistic in what it wants to do and the information it wants to provide to the project. The purpose of research is generally to unearth information, to just mine information and know the general state of things, as compared to monitoring or evaluation that are targeted at the delivery of a particular program or project. Research is more broad and it's helping to contribute to the body of knowledge on a particular subject matter. So that's it for that first criteria of the purpose. The second one is the length of time that is required to deliver these activities. Monitoring is not something that should take too long. Monitoring activities are delivered during the period of project implementation, of active project implementation, to make sure that activities are being delivered and to track how those are going. Evaluation, on the other hand, may be delivered for a short period of time, but it's usually at specific intervals. So you could have a midterm evaluation to see how progress has happened up to the half of the length of time required for an intervention to be delivered, and that can help to inform your future work and help you to understand the likelihood of you achieving those large objectives that have been set. You could also have an end of project or end line evaluation in which you're saying, okay, after we've put in all this work, what changed and were we of value? So evaluations have fixed intervals in which they are conducted, and while data gathering for the evaluation may have been happening for some time, the flurry of activity, the most busy period of an evaluation is actually quite short. Usually 3 months, 6 months. Very rarely do you have an evaluation that is going on for a year or more than a year. Research is varied. You could have research processes that are implemented in a short while, and you could have research processes that are implemented in a long term. So for instance, if you're conducting a longitudinal assessment, or you're tracking the progression of a particular cohort, that could happen over a long time. You wouldn't have that kind of work in an evaluation piece, or you could actually have it in an evaluation piece if, again, it's tracking of cohorts, but the evaluation period, the delivery of the evaluation itself is short, but you wouldn't have that in something that is monitoring. So research is a bit more varied. Evaluation is at intervals, and it's specific periods of evaluative activity, and monitoring is delivered over the course of the active phase of implementation to check that outputs are being implemented as they should be. And we move on to the final one, the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders for these work outputs? For monitoring, it's usually the project implementation team, internal. It's for the project to learn from how it has delivered its activities and to track itself. Yeah, that's the stakeholders for monitoring. The stakeholders for an evaluation piece usually expand beyond the project's internal stakeholders. You now begin to look at the external stakeholders, like the funders, people that are funding the delivery of the project, or the beneficiaries, people who you are conducting the project with, so they can learn from the evaluation findings and actually adopt some of the practices that you have been able to ascertain your work has influenced. Another key stakeholder could be the government, and maybe the community, the workforce that is focused on delivering those kind of projects. So it's a bit expanded when you look at the stakeholders for an evaluation. For research, it could be anybody. Research is really broad and it's valuable. It contributes to the body of knowledge on a particular phenomenon or matter. So anybody can access research, and you find out that research has a very broad base of stakeholders. So we've gone over the criteria that helps us to differentiate what is monitoring and evaluation, what is research, and how are these different from each other. We'll be looking next at the things that make them similar.